It's
Live. There we go. Wicked,
We're
lads.
live.
Alrighty. So this is the first episode of season 1 of the rebrand of the Orlando Norman show, where we're talking to people who I find very inspiring and that we can possibly extract some lessons from and how to be more successful within our own lives. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Vini and Alahan and Amilthan.
Yo, how's it doing?
How we going? How we going? Nice to be here. It's an honor to be here.
Nice to be the inaugural rebranded season 1, episode 1.
How many episodes was the last podcast?
Last one got to about 4 or 5. I think 5 episodes altogether.
That was called Against the Grain.
Yeah, Against the Grain. But now it's just more. You actually changed my outlook on that, Alahan, because one of the reasons why I really wanted to interview both of you is because previously with Against the Grain, I was sort of looking at people who were successful and went against, society's expectations and things like that. And I previously thought that everyone who worked within like a corporate environment just sort of took that job to make money because it's safe and and wasn't passionate about it. Until I met Alahan, and you started talking about, enterprise sales and software as a service. That's correct, right? Software as a service?
That's correct.
Yeah. Software as a service sales. Just as passionate as I am about acting, and it really, really intrigues me. And then a few months down the track, I got to meet Vini, and just the way you blokes talked about, helping each other grow and manifesting and all that different kind of stuff that we'll touch on here, I'm sure. But starting off with Alahan, do you just want to give the world a brief outline of sort of what you do?
Yeah, so I guess what I do, my job title is an account executive for a company called Oracle, which is a big beast of a business, has a lot of diverse products in the technology space. So specifically, my job is to deal with organizations and provide them with access to a product called NetSuite, which is a mid-market ERP. So I guess to break that down, ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Basically, it's a software that allows organizations to integrate all the important functions of their business together.
Even his pitch right.
Yeah.
It allows organizations to, I guess, bring all their important functions into one area. I guess a single source of truth just allows them to make better decisions in real time. So I guess an example would be accounting, HR, asset management, payroll, right. All those important things for businesses. And an account executive, I guess, to break that down as well, is to solve, I guess, the challenges for the target market that I deal with, challenges they face now, challenges they face in the future. And the main result of that is to bring money to the company that I work for. So solve their challenges to make money for our business is kind of how it works.
So you're the big problem solver, basically.
I wouldn't go as far as saying that. I got a lot of help on my end. I think I'd just be more the face of the help that's all around me.
Wicked.
Is that
wicked.
A good way to put it, Vinny?
Yeah, you do fuck all.
And speaking from the big man, can you give us a brief outline of sort of what you're involved with?
Yes, I guess in a similar background. Work for Uncle Jeff Bezos, Amazon. Yeah, he just landed on space.
Where is he? Shout out. He's in space.
He gave me a call the other day. Said, "Yeah, bro, I'm on space. Yeah, take care of business." Yeah, I was like, say no more. Work for Amazon. They've got an IT company called Amazon Web Services. pretty much in the sales area or business development area. Taking large organizations, small organizations to the cloud, because that's a new future. But yeah, that's all I do pretty much. Been in this game for since I was 18. So, and really started finding my strides in the last 3 or 4 years, or 4 or 5 years. So, that's me in a nutshell.
Wicked. Thanks for letting us know. And one thing I've just forgot to do before I've done your what we know what you do, but what are we grateful for, lads? Let's start it off. Let's kick it off. What are we grateful for, Vinny?
Mate, I'm grateful that I've got a roof over my head. I'm able to sink a beer and work from home and not be affected by this lockdown. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, that was very similar to mine, but I'm grateful for this winter weather at the moment. Almost 20 degrees today, beautiful sun out. I got to kick the ball around the park, which I've rooted back to my childhood during this lockdown because we've got nothing else to do. I know you're a footballer, so I guess that resonates with you more than anyone else. So grateful for that, but shout out to the 257 podcast as well. They're the ones that got me on doing my gratefuls every day. They're a sports podcast which I watch. So they do their gratefuls. So copyright to them.
There we go. Too easy. And I guess I'll join in that as well. I'm grateful that I've met such inspiring blokes as you two, and really grateful that all the lessons that you both have imparted onto me have helped my life a lot, and I can't wait to share this with the world. So getting into it. So now, software as a service sales and enterprise sales, that's quite a particular thing for a kid to want to get into. So where did that sort of idea, because you said you started at 18, Vinny, where did that idea of working in that sector really stem from?
No, it's just pretty much when working with my dad. It wasn't, I guess in high school, I wasn't always a high achiever. I really knew what I wanted to do. I knew business was something I wanted to do. I was always knew as a kid I had a knack for business. I was always slinging shit. I was gonna say I got a good story for that.
He wasn't the brightest, but he was always slinging shit around school, making money for everyone, selling Coke cans for 200% of retail, selling fake power bands, fake hats. At 300-400% markup, and getting coin in his pocket to the point where the headmaster actually said to him, "You're gonna stop selling stuff in the school, mate."
And just point you, my target market were rich King's schoolboys.
Yeah,
the parents are dropping like 30 G's per kid per year. It was the best school to start a business.
You were selling those power bands, were you?
Yeah, mate. I go Alibaba, they're like $5 a pop, and I sold them for like $70 each.
Incredible stuff. So natural
probably fake anyway, but
so natural salesman right there.
So I don't know. So and then I think one thing led to another. I like this technology space, and sales, you can sell anything almost, right? You can be in sales and logistics, you can be sales and marketing, you can sales and advertising. We just went down this technology route. My dad was kind of in that technology route as well, throughout his cold career as well. So I don't really, it's you just kind of go with the flow, and then you find your feet, and then like shit, I had a job. I used to work where Alahan worked before, many years ago. And then you learn, and you see what the impact you can do for customers, or like potential clients, and it's pretty phenomenal, right? Like it's pretty phenomenal what we do, and super crazy to be at this young age doing it, because all our colleagues, we're just lucky. We're just really lucky. We just a lot of people at 18 to their early 20s don't know what they want to do, right? And that's not a wrong thing. I've got mates that still don't know what they want to do, that are older than me. And then I've got mates that find their click at a older age. I was just very fortunate to to just land in the sweet spot at a young age and know that this is where I'm going to go. And who knows, this could change. I don't know. I don't see myself doing this in 10 years. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, how I ended up there, I don't know. It's a weird one, but we definitely, I definitely always was super ambitious and always tried batting above my average, if that's the way to put it. Like, you know, I'll pick, okay, if I use, okay, think of me like, let's use a football reference. Okay, so I'm like left back, or a defender.
Mm-hmm.
But I always wanted to be a forward and shoot goals, and somehow, you know, I'll go and I'll somehow try and make it happen, and I'll go join another team as a forward, and people go, "What the fuck? This guy's a left back."
Yeah.
So same thing, right? We saw a job opening, we fucking made, you know, we winged it, we sold them our profiles and what we could do, then we actually achieved it, and bang, you're right in the big leagues with people a lot older than you. And I don't know, it's good, man. It's good. But fuck that normal route as well, right? Like, you know,
yeah.
I mean, all my mates went to KPMG and like grad jobs and the standard route. And I deep down knew that was never even an option for me, because I couldn't even get the uni marks to get in the first place. So the cool thing was, my dad and I accepted that at an early stage, and we're like, "Oh, fuck that shit then." And then you're too much of a dumb cunt anyway. So let's aim bigger, because that makes sense.
I think it all starts off with apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My dad was always super aspirational, so he always made us do that as well, just naturally. So yeah, if my brother couldn't do it one way, do it another. I guess why sales for me, software sales in particular, a little bit of a different answer to my brother. I think mine's more, I'm not going to give you the corny, I love my job, I love solving. I just saw my brother doing it at a young age and really enjoying it. Whilst I was at that kind of turning point where it was like, what should I do with my life, and how am I going to go about it? I just saw my brother doing it, and doing a killer job at it as well. You know, I saw him, you know, have a real strong work-life balance, but I think on top of that, I saw the level of commissions that were coming in as well. So it's not necessarily the reason why I'm here, but it was appealing from afar. It's like, okay, hang on a minute, he's got a good work-life balance, but and he's also got, you know, everything he kind of wants at that age. So for me, it was like, all right, cool. And I dabbed my foot in it at a small startup, and found that I just naturally really liked it as well. So I think it's a bit of a lark in terms of enjoying it. But
I'd say Alahan's more of a natural than me. Like, I'm like forced my way into it, and then you find your feet. This guy like dabbled his feet in there, and you see him talk about it. He comes to you talking about it, you're like, oh fuck.
There's a lot of strategy involved. You know, strategy that stems off in 5 different ways. You just got to always think about the bigger picture when you're having conversations, because you're not talking to an individual, you're talking to a business. And for me, I really like that. I'm a little bit deep down really competitive, so it's more of a it's more of a game for me a little bit. But yeah, it's really rewarding to see the change that you kind of stimulated in a business by guiding them through a process. I think that's kind of a really good benefit of it, because you get to the end goal. Might take you a while, but you get to an end goal, and it's kind of like, all right, wow, I really helped that happen.
It comes with its I know we're digressing a bit, but it comes I know it comes with its fair share of shit as well.
Of course.
Which you know, which can send you in all kinds of fucked up spirals. And you know, I reckon I am who I am today, and learned all that because I went through those ups and downs, because I made that ton of money at that stupid young age. And you know, that there's a lot of character building throughout it as well. Which I'm glad Alahan gets to see, because He doesn't have to make the mistakes.
He could just learn from you and then better it.
Mistake might not be a wrong word. Mistake might be a wrong word, but I'm going to call it mistakes. He sees the mistakes and learns from it. Whereas, I got to actually make the mistake to pass that learning along. So, yeah, I mean, we can get into all of that, and then that leads into all the stuff we've been talking about.
Of course.
Back then, when I just got into it, I was a little arrogant prick making top dollar for his age. And, with the shiny Rolexes and the nice cars, fuck, it can fuck you up. That's for sure.
I definitely want to get into that, Vini, because we've had a previous conversation to this, and that really sort of inspired my growth as well. But one thing that I'd really like to touch on is that, as you said, you both were and are currently, pretty young for being in the positions that you are within the software as a sales industry. And a lot of, let's say, Alahan, you're 22, correct?
23.
23, and Vini, you're 20.
Turning 27.
Turning 27, right? So a lot of the people that you'll be talking to are a lot older than you. Basically put, how do you get the balls to really, this is what I'm worth. Even though I'm a lot younger than you, I can still provide you value through my sale and everything like that. Because I would think that would be initial. That would be like an initial hump to get over in the in the industry.
Yeah, I'll say one sentence. I'll say one sentence.
Okay. We'll go Vini and then Alahan.
They don't fucking, elder brother, right? They don't fucking know my age half the time.
Yeah.
You look young. Oh, okay. You could be in his early 30s.
Right.
Like that. So there's a bit of ignorance there, which is fucking good, thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll let Alahan take a stab at this. I'm keen to hear his thoughts on
I think we're young, but our tenure is still similar to those that we're dealing with around us. I think it's more we just got into it at a younger age, so we still have the years behind us and putting in that legwork, but it's not. We just done it from such a young age that we're young at where we've progressed to be. A lot of people don't find out where they want to be until they're. Or for example, the regression for my role would be to be a BDR or a kind of a lower level cold caller that's just getting into the industry. A lot of them are around 26, 25, 26. So when you progress, you become an account executive at 28, 27, 28, then you move into the higher tiers when you're in your 30s. And it doesn't mean to say, we're better than them or anything else. It's just we've got the tenure behind them, behind us. It's just the same. So it's a funny question. It's daunting to realize, when you're talking to a CFO, sometimes you kind of have to kind of pinch yourself and say, you need to be a little bit more mature than you are to have these conversations. But I keep telling myself that we're in a position, someone else has entrusted us with these positions, our hiring managers and whatnot. And, if we're able to do a good job to sell them that we can do what they're asking us to do, and they trust us with that, there's a hiring process for a reason, and we're there. We got it. So, why not just believe in yourself to kind of have those conversations confidently? And another part to break that down a little bit more, but I won't ramble too much, but you don't need to know everything, which is what I kind of pride myself on when I have these conversations. If I don't understand an acronym, or if I don't understand a business process, or if I don't understand something, they're executives that I'm talking to. Obviously, they're going to know more than me. So why pretend like I know that? I just ask them. I say, look, I'm not familiar with this process that you're talking about. Obviously, not from this industry. I'm a technology, basically a consultant or an account executive. Can you walk me through that a little bit more? So then they get a little bit of respect for you as well, because you're not pretending to know what you don't know. So it's kind of different.
Sometimes vulnerability can be the biggest weapon in this life.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I learned that a lot. And especially, when you start out in your sales career, it's like that. There's people on the same tenure paths, but then yeah, I leapfrogged years and years again, to the point where people like my direct colleague would be, his career started in 2000 or 90,
Yeah.
in the 90s, and I was like a fucking fetus then. So,
Yeah.
you know, so you get that like you get that fucked up feeling where it's like, oh shit, this guy's talking about his 3 kids. Some people have grandkids, man.
Yeah.
So, but you know, yeah, so sometimes there's two ways to look at it as well. So there's the way Alahan said as well, and there's another way where it's because we're so young and so inexperienced. You flip that on its head, it actually can be powerful, right? There's so much learning and so much knowledge absorbed by, not saying the wrong word, but your generic person in that career, person X, who's done it for 10, 15, 20 years. He's learned so much, and he's gotten a certain way of doing things. But
He's set in
because
his
we're
ways.
so he's set in his ways, and this, you know, people are reluctant to change. It's human nature. They don't like changing, right? Like it's people are always reluctant to change. And but then but our lack of experience allows us to be like fucking Play-Doh, right? Play-Doh,
Yeah.
right? When you're like Play-Doh, you can fucking mold into almost any shape that Play-Doh will allow you to do. So you go into Alahan's role, you get molded one way because you sell to finance, HR. You get suddenly, I've done that. I did that literally 10 months ago. I was in that finance HR space. Now I'm in a pure IT space, and you're just like molding like Play-Doh. Company to company, role to role, conversation to conversation, topic to topic. You're so malleable that you because of that lack of experience, you don't have that resistance to just be fucking flexible like Play-Doh, I guess. Whereas the guy who's been in the role for 20 years on through that path, and he
You got
goes,
preconceived ideas.
exactly, because exactly, because you've done X a certain.
You run on assumptions instead of actually listening to the.
Yeah, and also you just kind of, you know, people. I see it every day at work. Like, in fact, the company I work for filters out people like that and try hire the very malleable people. So I noticed the last 2 companies I work for, I could see it day and light in front of me. Company I work for now, it's like everyone's a 20-year-old, even though it's a 50-year-old in front of you. Like,
yeah.
Pretty epic.
Interesting. Interesting. That's
interesting. To answer your question,
yes,
we're going in loops here.
But, to answer your question, Alahan's right, and then there's your the point that you're vulnerable and you're malleable, and then also we get thrown into these situations, we get paid good money, we've passed the stages to get the job, blah blah blah, and we're semi-proving it. Fuck it, just sink or swim.
Yeah. I think there's also, so me and Orlando had this conversation, so I want to get him to kind of talk about this for whoever's going to be listening. Talked about there's a line where you're challenged and you know, something along the lines, I think it was chaos and order, and you asked me, because I you know, I kind of went into my job and it was sink or swim. You know, you just have to kind of learn on the go and make your decisions. And for me, I'm just kind of stimulated every day. Like, okay, there's some new shit I need to learn. I'm in these uncomfortable positions, but I'm comfortable having these difficult conversations. It gives me a bit of a thrill. You touched on it when I had that conversation with you. I want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah. No, definitely. Go for it, my friend. Go for it.
No, I'm sorry. You should elaborate.
Oh, right. So
you broke it down. You broke it down well for me when I said that.
No worries. So yeah, I've just a lecture that I heard from and watched from Dr. Jordan Peterson. So basically, he was talking about the optimal place
Shout
to be
out Peterson.
Shout out Jordan Peterson. He was talking about the best and optimal place to be in terms of performance or creativity or artistry, or, you know, whatever your performance is right on the right? Yeah, that's it. Right on the line between order and chaos, because you don't want to be complete order, because then you're stringent and you can't change, and you won't be able to adapt to what's going on. Like Vini was saying before, you're not malleable. But then you do want you do want a bit of the chaos to be able to, but you don't want to be complete chaos, because then you're just not going to get anything done and people aren't going to understand you and and you can be too wild and not structured. But if you sit right on the line, that's when people are most interested in what you're doing, because it'll grip them. And basically, right on the line of chaos and order is where you grip the most, right? So if we're having a conversation that's right out of your right out of your reach of intellect, you'll be gripped. But Justin, you'll be gripped. If it's right on the line, you'll be gripped, and you won't even know that you're gripped because you're just in there.
Yeah, to your point, and this goes. I think this is a character trait of mine. It's like, I'll always fucking take the easiest way. I'll fucking, mate, like, I'll always take the shortest fucking route. Like, fuck, what's the point in going the longest route? Oh, I'm a hard worker. Oh, I'll hustle, grind. Fuck off. Like, if something's there in front of me and there's a harder way to do it, I'll take what's in front of me, right? So I've always had that mentality, to the point where I've become fucking real lazy. To the point where I'm like, fuck, where's that shortcut coming? So, I'll find the shortcut. Sometimes I'll see a job and I'm like, oh, that's probably way above my, but fuck it, I'll go for it. And I'll fucking get in there, because I know that I'm not doing the 10 years like my mates to get to that position, right? So that's long story, and it comes with its flaws. But it goes to your point. Then you get thrown, then you get it. Then you get put into the situation, and it's like, oh shit, I'm going to get caught out. And I'm going to get caught out because, I'm in this fucking vulnerable position where, like, I've been put in this job or in this scenario where I'm batting way above where I should be. And I probably don't have the experience like others to back it up. And now I'm fucking gripping. I'm gripping like a motherfucker. Right?
And this,
because you're in that, you're in that zone. And so every new job I take, I'm in that gripping zone. And then you just keep leveling up, and you just keep skipping years of experience, and you learn at this fucking 20x rate compared to the generic way, because you're fucking gripping. You're absorbing, because you're absorbing out of fear.
That's actually it, right? Because if you're, I guess from our role's perspective, right, if you're too far out of your depth, you don't hit your KPIs, and then you're out. So it's more of a grip or sink.
And therefore, it gives you that competitive edge without you even realizing it, because your colleagues have been doing it for the last 10, 15 years. It's just, they wake up, send their kids to school, go to work, they don't give a fuck, and they come home, and they're maybe not as passionate as you are on that topic, but it's like, so therefore, but you're like, oh shit, I need to do X, Y, and Z, otherwise I'll fucking lose my job, or shit, I won't be up to that task of what people thought I would be. So you literally and then that can fuck you up as well. I can imagine.
And I've got a little follow up for both of you.
I've got theories to throw.
You've got theories to throw, and I got one for both of you right now. So, in being in those high positions at such young ages, and it's something that I've sort of discovered and been through as well in some of the acting jobs and that I've done. Impostor syndrome. Is that something that?
Yes.
Is that something that's?
Yes.
I'm a little bit out of the loop. I'm a little bit out of the loop on the imposter syndrome. What is that?
I'll take this one. Yeah, mate.
Go for it.
Imposter syndrome is literally the fuel sometimes, right?
Yeah, I feel that as well.
Fucked up way, because it'll come fuck you up after, but those initial fuel, it gets you places. But
what is it?
Okay, so imposter syndrome is, all right. So for example, you get a job. You get a job that says fucking 10 years experience. You got 2 years experience or something like that, right? You go into that role, you're gonna constantly, it's human nature to constantly worry that you're going to be an imposter, right?
Yeah, you don't belong.
It's like
they're gonna figure you out.
Yeah.
They're gonna figure out you've just been faking it the whole time.
Exactly. That is 100% it, right? So you go through this imposter syndrome, and then you put pressure on yourself. You put unnecessary pressure on yourself because you don't take 10 steps back and go, oh no, I'm just that. It's just normal. But half the time is normal. So you're in that imposter syndrome. It's toxic. You're flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You're actually doing all right, but it's still like a fucking gear in your head that you're faking it, or like you're not. People don't, and you're always like, oh, what do they think about me? What are this, that. So we went. Yeah, I'd say like 2-3 years ago, fuck, mate, it drive you nuts. And even at the company I work for right now, we throw that term around everywhere because the company I work for is such a high caliber of getting in that everyone, even if you're that 20, 30-year-old experience, you've been in that industry for 20, 30 years, because you've entered this company, they're like, oh shit. And so now you've got 50-year-olds who also say they've got imposter syndrome. It's a term thrown around every day.
Would you necessarily say it's a bad thing? I mean, for me, it's helped. Like, I mean, for me, I feel like when I do get, if I ever do get that feeling, and when I do get that feeling, for example, I think from my side, and I had this. So my old job was a startup, a small tech company, received funding, etc., but it was quite small. Then you swap it over, you level up to a company like Oracle, but on top of that, you level what I was initially selling to as well is different. It's wider, it's bigger, it's broader, and it's more technical. So in the interview process, I'm going, I don't have this ERP experience. Is that a requirement? And I'm already given that. So I've got the job, and the first couple of weeks, I reckon I've just gone, everything has just happened at 100 miles an hour, but I was absorbing it because it was like, I have to. I don't have room for error because I don't have the experience. And do you necessarily say it's a toxic bad thing?
You're in that honeymoon period of imposter syndrome. There's like stages of it, right? Like there's that, fuck, I'm on the ball because I'm fucking shit scared, and it's working out for me. Right, it's working.
How long can you keep that ball rolling for?
That's it. I mean, the challenge is.
But then do you think, right? Do you get to a point where your imposter syndrome, you've learned enough to not? Because I feel like now, like I'm in the right.
Oh yeah, it's wearing off.
Yeah, it wears off. But if it doesn't wear off, then it will get hell. I don't reckon I could have been going at the rate I was going when I first started.
Exactly. But it'll always linger around, right? Like, but where you are, and you're in that. There's a closer gap. So
yeah, I don't think I made that jump you made in terms of
that jump fucking like scared the shit out of me. I'm like, wow, I doubled my salary. It's great. And then like 3 months later, it's like, why did I do this? Fuck. I hate this shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. But then people come to me, it's like, oh, you're fucking good, man. Like, you're nailing it, this, that. And I'm like, what? Like, then.
Well, I think you're underselling it as well, right? Because he's saying he's doing well, but he's receiving, I'm hella blurry here at the moment too. But he's receiving awards on a global level for the stuff he's doing at Amazon.
Exactly, right? So do I need that fucking mental turmoil? Like the amount of energy I spend in my brain putting permutations and combinations of fucked up negative events that could potentially happen because I'm a imposter. Like if I counted minutes and hours of how I how much time I invest in shit that's never going to happen, like it's not healthy. My brain is probably the age of the people I work next to. Like, you know what I mean? It's not good. Not good.
It's interesting that you've attributed it to that because often things aren't as they seem, as in this reality, in that age isn't always an indicator of maturity, right? And if you think about it and you break it down, like age indicates experience in life experience. And what you break down life experience, what's that? Changes that you've had in your life, right? Where you've been in one place and you've gone to another, you've moved Yeah.
Yeah.
You've moved houses, or you've moved jobs, or da 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 da. Now, where that change occurs within your life isn't guaranteed. Some people, it's like gradual throughout their lives, and some people, like, and I get the feeling from definitely both of you and me additionally, is it's happened a ridiculous amount of change has happened in the beginning of our lives.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, we've become more adept at facing the challenges that life throws at us.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Career-wise, yeah, I still think there's way more
I
challenge
think,
to go, right?
I think
Like,
career-wise,
Mhm.
I think career-wise, we're
Mhm.
both, that's probably a fair assumption. But
Yeah.
I think from a non-career perspective, I think I'm still the age that I've still done what everyone else my age has done.
Yeah.
From my brother's perspective, man is quite young. And he's gone through a rapid hell a couple of years with his marriage, his purchase of his first home, livable home. So maybe he's a little bit different to me. I don't plan,
I mean,
as much as things go to plan, I don't plan to be going that quickly.
Mhm.
no one
But
does.
yeah,
No one does.
No one does.
Yeah, and it comes, like, and then I've got a couple of friends and even my dad and stuff. He'll tell me things like, "Fuck, chill out, man. Fuck, chill the fuck out. Like, why you gotta go fucking buy that? Why you gotta go buy that fucking $1.6 million house? Like, why you gotta go fucking
Yeah.
do this, do that? Like, you just got here. Like, chill the fuck out. Like, be content, right?
Smell the roses.
And,
be content.
yeah, smell the fucking roses. You don't even smell the roses.
Smell the
You're
roses.
on to the next
Yeah.
one. And
Yeah.
it's like, you're going to die. You're going to die by the time you're 40.
Yeah.
And I started taking that in a bit before. I was like, fuck off. I was like, I'll just stick my Rolex on and jump in my super fast Audi and fuck off and go make some bank. Right?
Yeah.
and then the little adversities come. Oh, something at work happened, this, that, and you're like, fuck. You see, I'm sitting in my Audi wearing my Rolex, crying at the steering wheel, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a good segue, right?
Fantastic segue.
The Rolex, the nice car, but you're sitting in it crying. I think that's a perfect segue to kind of head where we're trying to achieve.
And I don't know if you've heard about this, Orlando, and I might have spoken to you about a little, but there's that psychologist or professor, Dr. John D. Martini.
Yeah, you sent me some cool videos.
Right. Where the as high as you go, the low will be as much, right? And it kind of like say we go to Stash, we fucking Mars out, Mars, and there's like a fucking 2-day come down. As high as you go, as low as you go, and that's almost anything in life, right?
Yeah.
Like anything in life. So the perks I had at life with the money and all the accolades and the sexy resume, and everyone's like, oh, Vini's the shit. Vini's young and he's fucking shit. Whoa, blah blah blah. But the lows come just as low as that, right? Like you're like, oh fuck, like now I've got to keep up this image and then blah blah blah, and it eats you alive, eats you where no one knows, and that's that whole mental health thing for men, right? Like eats you up alive. So as high as you go, as low as you go. So fuck, I'm scared to hit high roads now sometimes because I'm scared to hit that low. I'm learning to be that equal. It's an equilibrium, right? Or like a broad spectrum. You got your high and then you got your low. So if it goes 10x high, it'll go 10x low. If you go 3x high, it will go 3x low. That's in life. So I've seen it with my dad, like in hindsight, after learning this. Like he was at the highest of his highest career highs and the lowest of the lowest. But then my aunties and uncles never hit that high point, but never hit that low point.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy. It is crazy.
It is.
When you're aware about it now, it's like, shit, don't go fucking, I could have bought a more expensive. I could have done that more. I could have, but my brother looks at me, he's like, you drive a fucking Mazda, looking at me like, oh yeah, nice car, bro. It's
to put it into perspective, he went from, a tuned sports car and you know what, for me, it's a good segue for me to talk about it. I've watched this character development occur over the past 3 years. Me and my cousin in particular, our first cousin who practically raised us as well, a little bit older than us, about 34 now, but so we just laugh about it, because he went from, and we spoke about it in his wedding speech as well, but he went from flexing on everyone, being this high roller, you know, but he's still kind of like, he's got all these nice watches, he's got this nice car, but he's just kind of this, you know, this guy who's got it all, and now he's buying, you know, like just your everyday Mazda and doing things that he truly wants to do with his money, and he's making these weird decisions, because we're sitting there going, this decision isn't to flex on us, this decision is truly for himself. And so me and my cousin sitting there going, hang on a minute, he's changed a little bit here. He's actually putting what he really wants.
My dad has my watches. I don't even have them in my house. Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just hilarious. It was just unreal. It's just hilarious. But the funny thing is, right, I've got to learn from all of this. So I've just been a bystander watching him do everything he's done, and I've just been consciously picking and choosing what he did at certain points and thinking, yeah, probably not for me, because I saw the end result of that, or I saw the mind state he was in after all of that. Like, he had everything, but he wasn't mentally like the happiest person in the world. And so I think that was a kind of a life-changing weekend he had a while ago that I'm sure he'll want to talk about, which kind of then rubbed off on me in terms of the way, so changed the outlook he had, which changed, I guess, influenced the outlook I have. And yeah, I'll probably let him elaborate on that a little bit later. But yeah, it's definitely been something entertaining to watch.
That's very interesting to hear, and I definitely want to get into that a little bit later as well, if you're comfortable with that, Vinny. But first of all, we've been talking about, you know, accolades and things like that, and everyone's definition is different, but I'd love for both of you to give me your, you know, definition of success and what that looks like for you as an individual.
Yeah, so I think. So I'll go.
Vini, and then Alahan.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, like, I'll say this now, but it doesn't mean I practice what I preach, because it's
exactly,
you know, it's fucking bullshit if you do practice it. Like, I don't practice what I preach. I try to. I might practice it 50% of the time, 60%, as long as the majority. But you know, if you told me 2 years ago, even 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, what's an accolade? It's like, oh, you know, it's your assets, your CV, your you know, your investments, and blah 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 blah. All materialistic things. But I'd say, yeah, an accolade now is fucking, it's happiness, mate. It's true fucking peace. Yeah. Peace in the heart, like a steady heart rate, fucking just sound, no noise, just stability of peace, I guess, and happiness, I guess.
So in summary, are you saying success, to achieve success for you, your personal definition is to achieve a mind state of happiness? Yeah. And then you're successful?
Yeah. Cool. Right, like it's content, happiness.
Content.
I've said that, but I don't feel content. I still am looking around the corner and be like, what am I going to do in 5 years? Am I going to knock down this house and build a McMansion? Like, why am I thinking like, but I'm not here. Yeah, and that goes to what we've spoke about Orlando and stuff, right? Like, you know, I certainly, it's hard because you just got to fucking pull your head out of your ass in those moments and realize, but I think, if my definition is an accolade is your level of happiness, I think. But yeah, do I have that accolade yet? I'd say most of it, but you know, but it's up to me to be, and there's nothing I need to go get that.
Yeah.
It's from within, right? It's from within.
Yeah. It's all within.
So I've got it all in front of me to get that accolade. I don't need no more money. I don't need another job. I don't need new relationships. And I have it all. It's in front of me. It's up to me within to hit that accolade, I guess.
And
I
give
think,
yourself the permission to really go for it.
Yeah, and that's what, you know, you work on as a man, you know, doing all this mindset stuff and this meditations and all these tools and exercises that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
That's there in front of you to it's a practice, right? It's a practice.
I think I've never
that.
really thought about it from a perspective of that deep.
Mhm.
I think we had this conversation a while back. You kind of hit me with this when we had a long drive. I think it was something or something, and you said, "Yeah, what's the definition of success?" I never really thought about it. I think, well, now reflecting on his comment, I think it is personal to everyone. You can't have, if you make your level of success reliant or a variable of what other people perceive it to be, then I guess you're never really going to achieve it. But I also think there's probably a small measure of success and a large measure of success, but it's always changing as your life is changing. So for example, I was working, for example, you can think about it from I guess a running perspective. You want to run a 5K at a certain pace per kilometer. Once you achieve that goal, do you kind of sit around and go, oh yeah, it's like I'm successful? No, you go, oh well, for me, I go, okay, well, what's next? So it's a constantly changing variable. And then there's the big ones, right? So it's like, okay, well, where do I want to be in 5 years? But 3 years down the track, you're not going to say, okay, so where do I want to be in 2 years? It's going to, you're constantly going to be thinking about where do I want to be in 5 years? So for me, that definition changes. There's no, I guess, linear definition for an individual. So I guess from a dictionary, I haven't looked at it, and I'm going to Google it right now. But the definition of success from a Google perspective must be vague as fuck, because you can't define it down to a T. It must be something along the lines of achieving a goal.
That's what he means.
Achieving something.
Yeah, that's what happiness is, right? Like you can hit so many goals. Like, are you happy? No, fuck. I've got my dream job last year. Are you happy? Yeah, I still fucking am. But like, if I go to the job before, yeah, did I hit my dream job? Yeah, and then 2 years on, like, am I happy? Am I really, like, I've got the car, I've got the watches, got the wife, everything, man. Like, and, am I really, or am I still seeking more? Like, so sometimes, I always wanted what's next. Now it's like, oh man, I mean, there's something happened to me recently where it presented an opportunity. I can't really define it in detail, but it presented an opportunity, and for the first time, I didn't give a fuck. Like, it was a note. I was like, why am I not fucking barking at this? Like, feeding it, putting every egg in the basket like I normally would for this, and opportunity presented itself, and it's a good opportunity from a career perspective, from a growth perspective. It's good, but why am I not like fiending it? Because it goes back to, I'm pretty good where I am now, but that brings in the commentary of, oh, but you're not willing to grow, or like blah blah blah. It's not that. I'm still finding that inner peace within. So I need to stay more content and stay at my current lane, and also it's also that DeMartini's like equilibrium thing, right? Like now I'm like, I'm on a high right now, but if I seek that extra thrill of like, like I don't want to fucking go down and spiral down as well. But to same as well, I'm thinking, maybe like it's also kind of, I'm here right now. I don't want to think about that future too much because I'm cool where I am right now. Power of now, right? And
shout out to the author.
Shout out to Eckhart Tolle, my boy, my G. But yeah, I mean, it also goes to the point where, as long as you can be here now, then you can start fucking centralize where you are now.
I think to put mine and Rob Brothers into a sentence, just freestyling here too. I think it could be along the lines of, it's trying to achieve your goals, but not letting that end goal be your focus for your life, so you're still kind of present, ties into the, I guess, you know, we all three of us have read The Power of Now, so we kind of understand that being present is the only way to really achieve those end goals. You know, you've got your end goal, but if you're focusing on the end goal, you're not going to be doing the intensity necessary for now to get you there. But I think that equation itself is the reason kind of where, or well, for me, that I'm kind of just real happy at the moment, and I'm not really, you know, at all in a fragile mindset, because it's along the lines of, you know, I'm in the everyday, and I'm looking to achieve what I need to do long term, but I'm not letting that sidetrack what I'm trying to achieve now. And I guess success ties into that, where it's, if you've got a good balance of the two and you're moving forward in a way that's sustainable, I think is a good way to put it. It's probably the best way moving forward. I want to hear from your perspective. I know you're interviewing us. You're kind of where your guest, but I think it's a little bit different, right? Because the end goal for an actor is a lot different to an end goal of a salesperson or a software person. But I think the end goal for yourself is a lot more challenging to be present. And how does happiness come into that? And how do you kind of define it yourself? Success, how do you define it?
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, I think my end goal as an actor and a creator is to
Hollywood, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Shout out Inception. Shout out
Leonardo DiCaprio. No, my end goal is to be one of the greatest actors in Australia and around the world, and to make the Australian film industry the biggest film industry in the world. So I want to bring
Margot Robbie.
That's it. Shout out Margot. Yeah, that's it. And bring that film industry here. Now, of course, as an actor, there's a lot of, and this is one of the things I talked about with you, Vini, within my career so far, there's a lot of things promised. And as you know, being an actor, there's a lot of rejection as well. So there's all these big roles, all these big things coming at you that, you know, would blow your mind if you got, and like you get closer and closer, you get right to the, you know, last two, and then nothing, right?
Oh yeah, and shout out to you for throwing your hat in the ring for that kind of stuff, man. I mean,
fuck that. There
you go. You called us inspiring. Look at yourself. But anyway,
go on. But I don't have resilience for that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And like, and interestingly enough, when I was at a real, you know, dark stage in terms of my career, and, you know, possibly thinking about giving up, I had a conversation with Vini, and you talked to me about the world's in equilibrium.
Shout out,
right?
Vini.
Shout out
Vini, baby.
Shout out Sash.
Yeah, that's it. In some dark room in a nightclub. Anywho, you told me that the world's in equilibrium. So with those highs of the promises that I would get in, you know, achieving this and being in this role and working with this person and came the lows of like sometimes not being the one, or getting so close and that hurting so much. And then, you know, going to nearly making, you know, ridiculous amounts of money to not being able to pay my rent, you know? And I was so tied up in the chase of that result that I wasn't happy in the now. But after reading The Power of Now, it rearranged my whole perspective of how I had to go about it. And just like you said, Alahan, I've really more focused on the craft and sort of just trusted in the universe to give me what I need and what I want, as long as I'm present and in the now. And I've found
sharpen your tools.
That's it. Sharpening my tools. And to be honest, the most consistent form of happiness that I've had with acting is setting a goal, which is, you know, my goal, and then little incremental steps on my way to achieving it. And once I, you know, I got a little bit closer, a little bit better today, that's where I get the most consistent form of happiness, and that really makes me the most happy.
Long-term goals, right? You need your.
That's it.
You need almost like a monthly, but almost like a milestone. It's like you need 4 or 5 milestones to hit X or something like that.
I think, you know, from our job in perspective, you know, it takes what we would call a deal starting or a process starting from start to finish takes anywhere from 3 to 6 to a little bit longer in terms of months. And if you don't take the small wins, it is a painful job.
That's it.
It is a painful job, you know. Your targets are monthly, but you realistically only hit them on a quarterly or in a big bang or something along those lines. And if you're not hitting them, then you start getting into this dark kind of grim mindset where it's like, and then that's when imposter syndrome kicks back in, because you go, oh, hang on a minute. So I think taking those small wins allows you to be happy, allows you to keep kicking, gives you the energy, really.
That's it.
And I think that would be the kind of the advice. If I was to give anyone going into any career anywhere, my dad actually had this saying to one of my mates who was trying to jump careers, and he goes, don't quit your day job to chase your dream. And it's kind of along those lines where it's like, you got to make those small incremental wins whilst you're doing your present, because if not, you quit your job, you start chasing a dream, and it becomes a failure instantly because you're not achieving that goal from the onset. So I guess, you know,
there's a quote that Napoleon said.
Shout out Napoleon.
Oh, shout out to my chief, Napoleon.
Big ups, Napoleon.
If you cannot do things,
you fucked it. Wrong. Game over. You fucked it.
If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way.
Yeah. Fuck, that's deep.
Big up, Vini.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty bang on, like with our careers 100%. And yours as well, right? Like almost 100%. Anyone's, right? You cannot do great things, small things in a great way.
And I think one of the most interesting things is the world almost forces us to be linear, right? You have to reach a certain KPI by every month, and you have to, you know, if you break it down, you gotta make this much money per day in terms of deals, right? But when is anything in nature linear?
No,
it's not.
Yeah, it's not. You could die tomorrow. You could have COVID and fucking die tomorrow. Like
that's right? it. You could put in, you know, in terms of, you know, your careers, right? You could put in, you know, 6 months of work in trying to consolidate this deal, and you would have gotten nowhere.
Oh, mate, I've worked 18 months. I've worked 18 months on average sometimes and lose things. I mean, Alahan said 3 to 6. My life, anything, if I do something under a year, it's like, fuck, that was quick.
You've opened up a can of emotional worms for this, like losing a deal after a year and a half. I mean, I've lost a couple of deals recently where, and it's a perfect example, right? Like things aren't linear and things don't go to plan. But, you know, I've put in work to these deals where it's like, you know, we've got so much, it's gonna happen, and then it doesn't, and it's like, so I think a redefining kind of happiness from my perspective could be a massive curveball, could be way out on a limb here, but if you can control the controllable and only focus on the controllable, I think you'll be happy. You start thinking about the uncontrollable, you're never going to be happy.
100%.
And that's something I've learned from my job, because there's so many fucking uncontrollable things.
Probably control 5%.
You can control 5%. Probably about 20% in my deals, maybe less in his deals, you're sitting there going, I fucking did everything. And then this fucking board decided to, you know, pause the project, and then, or, you know, the board had a relationship with another business, etc. And you're sitting there going, like you could be pulling your hair out, but I think I'm happy that I lost those deals, but for the one recently, I did everything from a controllable standpoint. And if I had to present a kind of what we would call a loss review, you know, why did I lose the deal? I'll say, you know, there was so much in my favor that I controlled, I manipulated, but the things that I didn't control, I'm not fussed about. That's not my problem. How am I going to control that? How am I going to control the fact that this guy's got a relationship with another business, for example? It's not, I'm just not going to focus on it, not waste my energy on it. And from then you start to just get a little bit more happiness in your day job. And I think if you use that as a lesson for life, it comes a little bit easier. I think you can start going, all right, I'm in lockdown. I can't fucking control that. So what I'm going to do, just make the best of it. I bought a new, and it could be I bought a new PS4 game. I've got control of what I'm going to do. I've got more control of what I'm going to do on my time. I'm stuck at home. I'll play PS4 a little bit longer. I'm happy. I don't care. It's fine. It's just the little things. The little things make up the big thing, I guess. But we've strayed quite a bit, So
no, it's all good. I'm loving this. I'm loving this talk. This is thank you so much for coming on, guys. This is fucking everything.
But I think we've been given obnoxious shout outs to some big names, which we're all mates with. Me and Jordan Peterson are boys,
Napoleon.
and me and Napoleon. Yeah, we go way back. But I think big ups to Daddy Amilthan for he's kind of we've seen him go through the lowest of lows recently, and then one day shit just flipped, and we thought he was insane because he was just suddenly all happy and I'm sitting there going, hang on, what the fuck? Why is he walking into the room here like hella happy and trying to be normal? I thought he was faking it for like a month. I'm like, this is even worse because he's not even showing he's unhappy anymore. He's just faking it. It's even worse. But then it's been 4 years now. It's been 3 years. I'm sitting here going, you can't fake that shit.
When are you gonna crack, mate? When are you gonna crack?
Yeah, when are you gonna crack? And there'll be points where and this sounds
just for those who don't know Daddy Amilthan, can you give us a brief description of your dad, Alahan?
I'll take this one. He's a very ambitious guy. Always wanted to work for himself. He had the highest of highs career-wise, blah blah blah. Fucked it off so he could spend time with me and my brother. Started his own business. Had that for over 10 years, well, longer than 10 years. He got shafted by a few business partners. All forgiveness. I used to say fuck you, but whatever. Because you know what, my dad's happy as fuck, and so anyway, things happened. Long story short, and it makes you go to the bottom, and then it goes you suddenly you suddenly hit new
bottom of the bottom. There is 15 years of brewing this baby of a business, seeing it successful, seeing all the legwork, taking no income to make sure the business is thriving, and then all of that kind of been taken away, not at his choice too. So I think that was the lows. You've put 15 years of your life into something, and then the lows come in.
Exactly. So he starts, you start doing things like, fuck. You start questioning life almost, right? Like, fuck, what have I done for the last 15 years? You start questioning life. You start questioning your purpose. You start questioning, what your kids think about you. You start questioning 100 things, right? And it just fucking go down this downward spiral. And the downward spiral was quite slow and steady, and it was like a slow burn. It was like one of the fucking slow roasting one of these lamb for 12 hours like that. Right? It's not like
slow cooker thing.
Yeah, you're slow cooking, right? So it was painful, and we were in our young and come up, so we didn't really understand it then. But when you look at hindsight, then he did all the tools, understood all these things, power now this, that. He picked up all the tools, this. And mate, he's probably, he's got if I say he hasn't got it all, but he's happier than he was, I guess, before.
When he had
and then that goes back to that, he's focused on the now, because there's shit looming on him in the future and in the past. And then I go to him and I said, oh, what if this, what if that? He's like, he's just literally just.
Yeah, so to put it in perspective, my dad's so in the now. He goes, every decision you make will be an emotional one. So don't try and make it objective one. So I'm like, I want to buy this. but it costs us so much money. And he's just like, mate, money, like he's so happy in selling them now. He usually back then when money was tight, he would be questioning every decision. And he's just like, mate, just if it makes you happy, if you think it's gonna do it, just get it. And I guess that's that little mindset of just like just do it if it makes you happy, and things will work out. And I guess I asked him the other day so you can imagine. So what I guess the downfall of this is to put my dad into perspective, he's gone through a lot, but there's no casual conversation with him. You'll be in the kitchen. I'll be in the kitchen. It's like 6 a.m. I've just woken up. I've had a coffee. And my dad will start talking about like meditation or some shit about how I can better myself in life. And I'm sitting. So it's been so drilled in us for so long that even when our casual conversations with him have been how to better yourself.
Took me to Tony Robbins when I was like 12.
Really?
So So me and my brother have been to an Anthony Robbins course. I was like 14 or some shit. And so we'll be sitting there and he'll be, and it's just so ingrained in him. And as a result, it's ingrained in us. And it's just a hilarious thought to see the flip. And it's actually humorous for us now to see the flip, but it kind of makes us go, you know, there's no reason to not just kind of embrace it, whatever you've got. So I'll be two examples this morning. I was like, it's 5:30 or something. I've just woken up, and he starts talking to me about, you know, like being in the now, and I'm just going, fuck, mate. And I've told him, mate, it's 5:30. I'm fucking. I haven't even had a glass of water, and he's just looking at me going, well, I've been up. And I'm like, and he goes, and he just walks off with a smile on his face. But if that was 3 years ago, he would have just been like depressed in the corner. I guess when he's given us the definitions of kind of success and happiness, and it's been a reflection in him. And I think that's kind of the inspirations that we've had, which I know we're going to go down that route. So I think it could be a good segue.
For sure.
But I know we keep going on tangents on your questions, but you asked who he is. And I think that's a good definition of who he is. Quite clearly.
And okay, so your dad's almost he's gone from this stage where, you know, he's quite depressed as to what's happened with his company, you know, and now he's gone through some sort of for lack of a better word, some sort of path of enlightenment, and now he's imparting that onto you guys. I'm
pretty sure he has like a 3-4 hour morning routine to keep his
3-4 hour morning routine.
It's like yoga, meditation.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
All of it.
Gnarly. I mean, I see it. It's like I get up at like, he gets up around 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
And he, like, I'll be up and he'll just be meditating. Like, I'll get up to go to the gym or something. It's like 5 o'clock.
He's turning 60 next year, by the way. Yeah.
And then the next day,
wow.
and then the next hour, I come back from the gym and he's like doing his affirmations. And I'm like,
affirmations. He writes gratitude journals. It's fucking crazy, man. Like, you know, we used to look at him as kids and laugh, and then until
I used to laugh at him. I genuinely, like, for someone who's not been around this world, I guess, or just around it, it's kind of laughable to think that, you know, writing things down on a piece of paper can change your perspective on the day, or you change your outlook for the next couple of hours. And I used to fucking laugh. I used to be so cynical about it.
Only when I go through some adversity, I turn to him, or and even not him, because who listens to their dad, right? Like, so I even went on like a personal development thing for like a weekend, and like my dad had all the answers. He had all of it, but he said, fuck that, go to this, because you will actually listen. You know, come back, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And he's like, fuck, you're finally fucking getting it. And I mean, he's like a personal development junkie is the best way to put it. Like,
it's almost annoying, but it's annoying, but at the same time, it's so drilled in us that it's only benefited us. And I guess every conversation I have in my life with my dad, it gets to a point where it's like we're going into how we can better ourselves as individuals from a mindset perspective.
Yeah. All my mates look at, like, we've grown up a bit now, and a couple of my mates just shout out to like Charlie and stuff. They just go, "Oh man, you know the shit that you get to talk about with your dad, it's so fucking cool." Like,
I've got a mate who, yeah, exactly the same thing. You know, needed a bit of direction in life, and would be having coffees with my dad without me even knowing in the background a little bit, and I'd be like, "What the fuck? That's a bit random." But he goes to me. He goes, you're just taking it for granted. You don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't understand what you have in front of you, I guess. But that's kind of as a result of, where we are. And I mean, it's not like we're super successful at our age, but we're doing our part, and I think it's as a result of him more than anything else. Because when we veer off our path, he just pulls us without subconsciously with their conversations. He'll just pull you back in the line.
Right.
And he'll just challenge you. So I think, and my brother will touch on this, but he went through kind of a kind of personal development coaching camp thing or whatever, where he found, I guess, himself in a corny way. But he was telling me that the biggest thing, the difference was there's someone on the other end that was keeping him accountable. So we had regular check-ins.
Yeah.
So I think, everyone can read a book and be super inspired, but if you don't have someone, I guess, keeping you accountable for what you're suddenly believing in, then it's like it's gonna last a week.
Yeah, that's where you go to Tony Robbins. It's like fucking
You go to Tony Robbins, it lasts a week. Like you do your affirmations every morning.
You walk on the fucking fire, and you're like, holy shit, I'm gonna nail life. 2 weeks later, you're like, oh fuck,
life is mine. I've just walked on hot stones because I've conquered the now and I've conquered fear. Like this whole Anthony Robbins thing, but that was like 14 or 15 at the time, and then for the next 6 years, I didn't have any of that mindset.
Yeah. So even when I did mine, we had like a 12-week weekly check-in. It's good to do this, how's your morning routines, this, that. And to be honest, I probably retained like 40% of it without the accountability.
Yeah.
Like 40% of the actions, which is, I'll take it. It's better than zero, right? But yeah, it's good. What else? What else have you got?
Yeah, no, it's interesting we're going into this range, because one of the interesting things that I found after you told me to read The Power of Now is, like, I put it into deep practice for the first like 3 weeks, and then slowly and ever so slowly it just sort of drops off, and then you turn around and you're like, right. This sucks, like life sucks right now, what's going on? Oh yeah, I'm not present. And it's sort of, and that's one.
And that's all you do. All you do is just pull yourself back in. Like, what are you going to do? Beat yourself up about it? Like, fuck.
If you have the ability to pull yourself back, then you've already gained more than most.
It's like meditation. Like, let's be real. Who actually can meditate properly, right? No. Obviously, there's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about that
voice in your back.
I'm thinking about that. I don't know. I'm thinking about that spliff and fucking dinner that's coming tonight. Oh shit! I'm meant to be here right now. Like, Yeah, it's normal.
It's interesting.
It's normal.
Yeah, for sure. And in getting into those sort of habits and routines and things like that, I'd love to delve into both of your routines and what keeps you ticking along. Some things you've taken from your dad, maybe other experiences. So for a change, Alahan, you go first, and then we'll go with Vini.
Yeah, so funny we speak about I guess keeping that intensity and accountability. To be honest, routine wise, I'm not doing anything from a personal development perspective, but from a routine perspective, I can't live without routine. So I always have a routine. I'll be able to like spit it off the top of my head now, and I get up around 6:37 and I'll do something, I guess, a little bit stimulating, whether it's going for a walk or read a book or work out for an hour, and then I'll work. But I'm a super outdoorsy person, so my routine, no matter what, it's got to do with moving. So I'm always at my girlfriend's house because I work from home. I need to change environment. I need to go do something super kind of fidgety, almost like I got ADHD. So I need to go change my environment all the time. So I guess my routine is constantly adapting to keeping myself stimulated. So right now, because of lockdown, I guess I've been doing long walks in the morning. That's kind of my routine now. Workouts in the afternoon, exercise, I guess, is a big part of a lot of people's lives, and it's something that kind of keeps me active or keeps me happy. Just seeing progress outside of work in an exercise perspective is always nice. But yeah, look, I don't have too much of a drilled routine around meditation, or I used to do Wim Hof every day. I used to do these little things, but we don't have anyone keeping you accountable. I know it's there, but I don't end up doing it. So that's a real.
A routine isn't meant to, like, as ironic as it sounds, it's not meant to be there forever. Like, it's meant to go off and come back. Like, it's there for a set period of time, not forever. So you have your reasons. And yeah, my one, like, just because of the new lockdown that came out, I had no routine probably for the last 6 months, I guess, because just because, you're buying a house, there's a lot of emotions there, you're probably just partying up or living, blah, 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 blah. And, it's funny because those adversities hit you harder then, and blah, 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 and you hurt more and you just fucking wing it, right? But because of the lockdown, I saw an opportunity. Lately I've it's only like 3 weeks in now, but it's working on
takes 3 weeks to build a habit.
Waking up and going straight to the gym, or not the gym, but going to the park and doing like a circuit, I guess, with a mate and my wife and his missus, and that's been good. That gets you up at that crazy hour, which is around like 5 a.m. and come home by 6:30, 7, and then I consciously make an effort to do Wim Hof breathing and just 1 10-minute meditation. Keep it simple, and I want to try to do this one as long. I used to have a morning routine last year where it was like an hour and a half, where I write shit down, this, that, and I got what I wanted, and it gave me clarity. It kept me sane a lot, actually. But
what was that routine? Walk us through that.
Fuck yeah, that was, so I came fresh out of a personal development course, and it was really good, and I still, everything I taught you, like when we had our chats, Orlando, came from that. Because obviously I was in a dark place, with my lows, but it wasn't really lows, it was my interpretation of it being a low, right? It goes back to,
of course,
your definition.
It's all perception.
It's all fucking perception. Oh, mate, someone else would have loved to be where I would have been, whereas I was sitting there, that morning routine consisted of, you wake up, you do Wim Hof breathing. Then I wrote like a gratitude journal. I had like a template, and that's it. I actually printed something out at my dad's house like a while ago, and I saw like his same thing. It's like a template, 10 things I'm grateful for, 5 things I'm grateful for, 5 things I'd like to happen today, something like that.
I think it was four past. And the reason I know this is my dad tried to drill this in me, but I just never saw it, never found it a habit. But I think it was like, 4 things down that you're grateful for in the past, 2 things you're grateful for in the future, in the now, and then 4 things you're going to be grateful for by the end of the day or by the end of the week.
So past could be like, hey, I'm grateful for, I got the job, like I got this, or this happened, or something. Now is like, I'm literally grateful for this weather, like for this, having a roof on top of my head as I look up in the sky, something like that. But anyway, so I did that, and then I did, there was like there was like a priming meditation, where it's like a meditation where you actually breathe and feel the gratitude. You live in those moments. You pick like 3 moments you're super grateful for, and you put each like 3 to 5 minutes for each of those 3 moments. You relive them. You literally physically relive them. You feel it in your fingertips. You feel that joy, that laughter that you went through when that happened. You relive it in your head, and that primes you. It primes you for the day, right? It primes you. then you go from the 3 grateful things, you go 3 to thrive. Then that's like 3 5-minute segments of living in the moment of something you'd like to achieve, whether it's 3 weeks from now, 3 years from now, 3 months from now. So 3 moments of gratitude and then 3 to thrive. And then, that time it might have been, I want that job, or no, I want the house, or no, I just want to be at peace. And sometimes I'm just like visualize myself like fully not giving a fuck and like super happy. There's no achievement. And when I was my brother's age, it was always about achievement, this, that, and you grow out of that. You slowly or fast, whatever, shit happens, right? And then sometimes, when you go 3 to thrive, you'd even just think of, visualize yourself of just having mental peace. Like that was my definition then and now of thriving, right? So and then you do that, and then man, it's a good routine. What else? It was and then so that morning. Then I'd go do some, like, that time it was a lockdown last year. Maybe I was doing something on an exercise bike or whatever. But I'd always, the lockdown makes a morning routine easy because you're at home. I sometimes, people, a lot of people complaining about lockdowns, and yes, to be fair, there's a lot of people suffering, with businesses and even things falling apart. But for me, I saw it as an opportunity to grow. This time around, last time I did, this time around I saw it as an opportunity to grow and build habits. And I've been talking to my brother about the physical habits I'm building and like shit, the fitness levels I've never seen before for myself.
I've been seeing it on the gram. Right? You've been getting after it.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like,
and putting in that work in the early AM. Impressive. But
yeah, it's all good.
Super impressive.
Question.
That does answer my question. Just sort of what habits and how they have.
What are your habits?
My habits. At the moment, I've gotten myself into a funk of sort of getting up at.
Before you get into that, I think it'd be good to understand what your day looks like as someone who doesn't have that 9 to 5.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. So recently I was a little bit depressed in the first, I was very depressed for the first 2 weeks of lockdown. And then I sort of came up with a schedule in terms of what works for me and how I work and how I go about it and everything like that. But in terms of me being a freelancer, I've got a lot of like projects on the go. So whether that be films that I'm currently making a short film, businesses that I'm going into, that I'm starting up with one of my best friends, and a business that I'm managing now, and the production company that I work with. But that's sort of a rough outline of what my day looks like. It's sort of, I work on a whole bunch of different things. And then I've obviously also got my acting. So I make sure that I put in a certain amount of time for that every day. But I can just basically start off with the routine. 5 a.m. usually the alarm goes off. I'll sleep for another 10 minutes and then I'll get up at like 5:10.
Yeah, grouse. That's the best part. That's the best sleep.
It is.
That 10 minutes extra.
Yeah, that 10 minutes extra. And then I'll do a meditation for about an hour or sometimes an hour and a half. Depending if I'm enjoying it. Sometimes it's like a half sleep meditation because I'm like,
that's all right.
Because I'm like that. Sometimes it's pretty intense.
And have a 5-hour meditation later.
That's
me trying to go to bed after SaaS.
But yes, I'll do that, and then I'll usually do some sort of exercise or. Lately, I've really been focusing on running and trying to get my 5K time down. So I've been doing a lot of 7Ks.
Where are you at now?
My last 5K, I'm going to do one on Saturday, but my last 5K was, I think, 4:09 or something like that.
Oh, wow. So close to the sub 20.
Yeah,
I know. To the sub 20.
I know. It's killing me.
I guess I should go on with your routine before I ask.
So I'll work out, and then after I've done that, I'll sort of go through a bit of affirmations and what I'm manifesting in front of the mirror and sort of say that, and then I'm just sort of off my day.
You know what I did? I sometimes the first thing I start in the morning, and this was fresh out of that, and I should do it again, is I wrote down an affirmation thing, like a page, I will, or I am fulfilled, I am, blah, blah, blah. And you literally record yourself because your own voice. Play it when you wake up. It's like your
that's
fucking
a good
alarm.
one. I gotta write that down, motherfucker.
Hear that. You literally on your iPhone, you hit record and then just put your AirPods on when you wake up. Maybe in that 10-minute period where you're like,
half asleep, half awake.
But if you play this, it's like it worked because fuck, like you just wake up. It takes like 20 minutes to kind of like, unless someone fucking comes to put a bucket of cold ice on you, all right? This one worked for me, so you should throw that in there. That's an impressive routine, man. Like you're pretty.
Yeah, I don't know why you're talking to us about things like in.
Well, it's like anything. It hasn't.
Man's doing a better routine than all of us. I guess one of the funny. Sorry, I know I'm diverting from whatever the original schedule or
good.
I guess routine of the podcast was, but one of the things that I've always heard around people around me is people who don't have it. A lot of people strive to not have a 9-to-5, but they don't realize. Like I reckon we as a 9-to-5 has got it pretty easy because we've got security. We've got it's easier to find, I guess, a bit of happiness and stability because we know that
for sure.
For us to get fired, there's a process. Like they can't just say get out. There's a process of the notice, etc. But for someone like yourself, I was talking to someone, they're like, I can't wait to be I just don't want to be in a 9-to-5 anymore. And it's like, okay, but do you understand the shit you got to go through, or the hell you probably see the glamour of the gram or the glamour of what they like showing, what they're doing, but what are they doing for in the 95% of the other time period?
That's it.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's it. And I think you're very right in that. And I think, and it really sort of first happened when COVID first hit and I started to really form these habits deeply when I moved to a country town in South Australia where I grew up. I moved there with Kim for like 6 months. Yeah, so bumfuck nowhere. Had no money to get back to Sydney. I'm an actor. I've got no job. It's COVID-19. And my mind was just eating me alive, right? I had no future prospects, not anything. My girlfriend wants to get back to Sydney to see all her friends. I had no money. And I just basically, a lot like your dad, you come to that, low point and you hit rock bottom. And you're like, okay, this is the only way is up from here. Like I just got to keep going. So I just formed those habits as a way to keep my mental strong because there's so much fluctuation within, not having a 9-to-5 and being in a sole trader and my own job and everything like that, that it doesn't have that security, right? And so you got to be sort of a bit more secure in your mind. And, if you've had a day where, you've put in an audition for, some amazing thing and your agent loves it and your manager loves it and the casting directors love it. But then, you find out next week that you were one off from, getting it. That can fuck you up for a while, especially when you're like, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent and da-da-da-da. So really they're sort of habits that I've really just had to build out of necessity because if my mind's not sharp, go on.
Do you think the personal development side of things, the way of kind of making yourself happy has been the reason you've carried on as an actor?
100%. I think without it, if I hadn't, if I hadn't met you two, if so many other things hadn't happened, I'd be in a much worse place. If I hadn't had the support of my girlfriend, who's, an absolute angel, as both of you know, I'd be in a much worse place. Shout out Kim.
Shout out Kim. Big ups to Kim.
Big ups to Kim. But definitely, just because the job is just so up and down and all around, and And, as soon as you get that big role, you've got more to lose, just like Vini was talking about before. So you starting stressing even more. And like, you could, what's worse than, not having a job is being super famous and then being super poor because no one wants to hire you again.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Anyways, you can be back to the.
Anywho, back to the regularly
let's reverse the roles
scheduled.
again, hey.
So we're going through hard lessons here that I've had to learn, and we've gone through a couple of yours that you both had to learn. But what do you think is the greatest lesson that you've learned through hardship?
Or I think I kind of spilled the guts on this a little bit earlier. I think,
Yeah.
for me, it's if you kind of control what you can, and you know what, this is reflecting on this. Someone who's going through hardship would probably smack me in the face for telling me this, but just focus on what you can control, and things, just do as good as you can from a controllable perspective. The uncontrollables, or you can't control it, so just roll with the punches as long as you can, and eventually there's light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I said that to my girlfriend who was made redundant during the last COVID hit, the first one. And she wanted to smack the shit out of me. I was like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You're gonna come out better than this. And she was looking at me going, shut the fuck up. You're so lucky you've got a sales software gig where, you know what, your sales are probably gonna soar during this pandemic, whilst I'm jobless. But I said, and my dad, and it was just hilarious because you could see her trying to be as polite to my dad as possible. My dad saying, there's so much you can do in this time, you could better yourself. And she's just going, I've just lost my job. You're telling me that this is all happening for a good reason. So I think once the dust settles from something hard, just control what you can control.
Let your emotions out, like that, like at that. Yeah, like there's all timing is critical with hearing these things, right? When life is going good and I'm hearing all about this personal development, it's like, fuck. Right? Like until you hit that adversity, it only becomes relevant for you. I mean, I've been hearing this personal development shit all my life from my dad, and it didn't hit me till a year ago. So look, and then I'll be doing all the whack shit I used to laugh at him about. So
and like I think before we get off, I think that the funniest thing is, right, and she doesn't even. If you were to ask her what she did in a lockdown, my girlfriend who got made redundant, she'll say, oh, I just kind of did whatever. But realistically, she focused on what she could control. She started her own little business, like a drop shipping business, and she was just focusing on ways to get herself, keep herself afloat. Worked a bit of a shitty job in the process, but now she's soaring in terms of the job she's in and her work-life balance and all of that.
You can, like my I guess the lesson is that everything's a journey, right? Everything's a process and a path, and just fucking ride the wave and trust the process, but also take the emotion out of it and focus on the controllable. And goes back to that Napoleon quote, like do small things in a great way. So that's my take on it.
Let the little wins ride the little wins.
Sure.
I had a good tasting coffee today. I was fucking stoked. I haven't had a coffee that I haven't made myself. Man, I've been having, this is, a lot of people reckon it's disgusting, but I've just been having long black instant coffee for the past 2 months.
Wow.
And people think it's chat, but I've actually learned to love it. But now that I've gone and bought myself a nice coffee this morning, I was so happy. But now I'm thinking
it helps.
Gotta go back to my Nestle long black.
Coffee. That's it. And just a couple of follow-up questions, just because we've been going for a while now, but I reckon I'll just do a couple of quick fire questions at the end, and then we'll wrap it up. So starting with Vini, and then we'll go to Alahan. What are your passions outside of your jobs?
Yeah, nice. I'd say definitely music. Yeah, I love
Man
music.
can sing.
Yeah, yeah. I
Really?
can.
Shit.
Drop a few bars for us, bro.
You can call me pitch perfect, which I actually am. But
Yeah.
but you know, I like all forms of music, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a bit of a music connoisseur. But other than that, man, yeah, kind of getting back into the sports again, not as a player, but as an armchair kind of spectator guy. You know, I
Yeah,
love,
yeah.
yeah, I love kind of all kinds of sport. You know, the rugby league to the football to MMA. I love MMA. Like, if you ever think I'd fucking live and die.
Shout out Charles Joyner.
Yeah. Like, my mate got me into it, him being a fighter, and
Yeah.
we love that shit now. But yeah, it's a hard question. Like, that's pretty much it, mate. I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm not super passionate about my career as I used to be.
Yeah.
It's more I like it and I like what I do. But like, yeah, and outside of work, yeah, I'm into all this stuff, and yeah, that's it, man. Just music, sport. Yeah, passionate.
Wicked.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's about it, man. It's not. You know, I probably didn't have that hectic answer that you might have.
No.
No. This is just the quick fire ones. We've gone through the deep
Go,
ones,
Alahan,
baby.
quick fire. Don't fucking ramble on, eh?
Yeah, quick fire. I think it's just, you know, going out. I don't mind a punt at the pub or a couple of beers, but since we can't do that, yeah, my group of mates it was awesome. We were always at the pub, so that I'd put that as a passion. But if not, look, I think just a bit of exercise here and there to keep myself sane. And the only thing kind of getting me or stopping me from watching useless TV is a bit of that KO action. So the NBA finals, the league every weekend. I don't know what I'd be doing to myself if I didn't have some sport to watch on the weekend. So I don't have anything special. I'm not unique in that sense. I just got those hobbies and I just do what I do. Nothing in particular.
Best way to put it.
That's it.
Great.
And what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Same as what I dished out. I think I didn't make my own advice up. So it's
Done.
exactly what I dished out. I didn't put any hard work into thinking about that. I've just been told what I've been preaching throughout this whole session. It's just don't try control what you can't control.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a few, right? I mean, you're going to drop cliche ones like gratitude is the key to success. 1.
Yeah.
Right. And 2, happiness is the key to success. So, yeah, fuck
Gratitude
your
and
house,
happiness.
fuck your job, fuck your all that shit, because that can be taken away from you in a heartbeat. So if you can find a way to maintain those 2, you will be fine. Whether you're working a shit job, whether you're working no job, whether you're in fucking balling, if you can have those 2, then you'll be fine. You'll be great, actually. You'll be better off than the people making a ton of money doing well, you know?
That's it. Awesome. And last one, we're going to finish off on a very positive note here. But I'll let Vini go first and then Alahan. But what do you most appreciate about your brother?
Good. Go on, brother.
Oh, wait. Oh, me first, eh? No, I appreciate the way he takes on my learnings and is a go-getter. And yeah, the respect he has for me as well, and the bond we form, that it's stronger than it's ever been.
Yeah, I think to be honest, yeah, we weren't too close growing up. 4 years apart, right? It's kind of a funny space. I'm 14, he's 18, I'm 12, he's 16. Think about the different points in life. You don't want to deal with your little brother. I don't want to deal with my brother trying to give me his life while I'm going through my 12 years. So I think coming into the later stages, kind of trying to well, from my perspective, trying to mimic what in a competitive way, trying to mimic or better up him, one up him. So I guess I'm kind of grateful for going back to grateful, having him set the bar so high, so that I've had to level up to compete or even be in that kind of conversation. And ironically, right, he worked at Oracle at my age, and I'm working at Oracle now. So it's funny how you set the bar at a certain level and you don't know how you're going to get there. You get there. So yeah, interesting.
Wicked. Awesome. Well,
from airport to airport.
oh, they've gone, have they? Well, they've gone at the perfect time, because I think we're going to call it there, lads.
Are you wrapping up? How long do we take? Hour 45?
I don't know. An hour 45, probably two.
Yeah.
No, yeah, hour 45.
He's gonna want to listen to us ramble for an hour.
Mate,
45.
even if no one, even if no one
Yeah,
listens
good chat
to this,
anyway. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit who listens to this.
exactly.
They listen to it. That's a bonus.
That's it. That's a bonus. I'm super grateful for both of you. I'm super grateful for having met both of you and you.
I should know this. But what's this podcast called?
The Orlando Norman Show. I've just gone with that.
Well, big ups to Orlando Norman Show for having us. I'm still in the against the grain mindset because I've listened to all of them, so that's why I have to re-ask it. Yeah, big ups. Appreciate you having us. I appreciate, first of all, I think appreciate you for thinking that we're kind of successful enough to be on this podcast.
Gives me a bit of hope that I've done at least something right,
I don't feel myself really.
I can inspire a guy that I met randomly in a fucking nightclub, and it was music to my ears when you reached out, mate. Like it was fucking music to my ears. I felt like it was like a little purpose I had, and it was like a little bite-sized win for the day when I was like, oh, you know what, I'm doing something right if someone's reaching out to me. Not my brother, like my brother reaches out to me, it's like, oh yeah, he's my brother. If a company reaches out, if a mate, even if a mate reaches out, but you're someone that's a bit
a stranger.
You're a pure stranger to me. And I met at it was the end of the night.
It was the end of the night. It was the end of the night.
Yeah, essentially. And then you reached out and then we had like an hour-long chat.
What a night that was, but just quietly. We'll keep that for the R-rated
for the R-rated version.
R-rated Orlando.
Yeah. But long story short, shout out to you for reaching out and wanting to do better and wanting to be better. That's fucking epic. It takes balls.
Yeah, big up. I think on top of that, big ups to you for doing you. Not many people our age we can have these conversations with, because it's kind of a laughable topic. If I go to 95% of my mates, they'll probably laugh at me for this. But good on you for doing you, and we've all got each other now, so it's awesome.
Yes, that's super grateful for you guys coming on here. Super grateful for meeting both of you, and I'll keep you both accountable.
No worries. I'm out. Peace.
See you guys. Well done. Cheers.